My husband has been away on a business trip for 3 days and hasn't come home. I thought he was busy with a big company project, but when I opened my phone, the top trending topic was, Gu Group CEO, Gu Jingheng, is holding a century wedding in Bali. The screen of my phone was painfully high-def. My hand, holding the coffee cup, froze midair. The coffee had gone cold without me even noticing. In the video, Bali's sky was blue, the sea was beautiful, and the white sand was covered in pink rose petals. Under the arch made of fresh flowers stood my legal husband, Gu Jingheng. He was wearing a perfectly tailored white suit, with a gentle smile on his face that I had never seen before. His hand was holding the hand of a woman in a trailing wedding gown. That woman was Lu Mengyao. 3 months ago, she was just a small-time singer who performed in a mall opening ceremony. Now, she had transformed into the Mrs. Gu known to the whole world. The comments were flying by. Oh my god, Gu Jingheng is so handsome. What kind of fairy tale luck does Lu Mengyao have? I heard the entire Gu family came, all 12 of them. What about the original wife? Isn't Gu Jingheng married? Who cares? Obviously there's no love left. Ha 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 ha. My finger gently swiped across the screen. The next photo was a family portrait of the Gu family. My mother-in-law, Wang Mylan, stood in the center. Her smile so wide it almost reached her ears. She had her arm linked with Lu Mengyao's, acting so close, as if Lu Mengyao were her own daughter. My sister-in-law, Gu Mingzhu, was making a peace sign beside them. The haute couture dress she was wearing was the one she had swiped from my card last month for 580,000 yuan. My brother-in-law, Gu Jingfeng, was with his wife and kids, the whole family of 4 neatly dressed in custom-made beachwear, each face screaming, "Look how glorious our Gu family is." 12 people, not one missing. They all went to attend their own CEO's wedding to his mistress. I slowly put the coffee cup down on the table. The bottom clinked against the marble countertop, making a soft click. "Madam, are you okay?" Our housekeeper, Sister Zhou, stood at the kitchen doorway, looking at me cautiously. I looked up at her. "I'm fine, Sister Zhou. Do me a favor. Tell me, move the black safe from my study into my bedroom." Sister Zhou opened her mouth, as if to ask something, but in the end, she just nodded and left. I stood up and walked to the floor too. Ceiling window. Outside was the most dazzling night view of the city, a sea of lights spreading out beneath my feet. This villa, all the famous paintings and antiques in this house, the 3 limited edition sports cars parked downstairs, and the 15% stake in the Gu Group, all of it was mine. No, I should say, all of it was what I naively thought I could share with him. Suddenly, my phone rang. I glanced at the caller ID. "Mother-in-law, Wang Mylan," I answered. On the other end came a chaotic mix of laughter and music. Wang Mylan's voice came through, smug and triumphant. "Xinglan, you're home. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Jingheng is hosting a business event in Bali, and the whole family came to support him. You know, being a wealthy wife means being magnanimous. Don't be suspicious all the time. A business event? What a business event?" I smiled, my voice very calm. "Mom, having fun." "Fun? Of course, I'm having fun." Gu Mingzhu's laughter chimed in from beside Wang Mylan, the girl shouting, "Mom, tell her to stop waiting. My brother is about to go into the bridal chamber with Sister Mengyao." Then came a burst of laughter from the other end. Wang Mylan cleared her throat, feigning seriousness. "Well, Xinglan, I mean, Jingheng is very busy. Don't keep calling and bothering him. That's it. International calls are expensive. Bye." Beep, beep, beep. I stared at my phone screen. The wallpaper was still my wedding photo with Gu Jingheng. 3 years ago, our wedding was also by the sea. He said, "Yi Xinglan, I will only love you in this life." He said, "I want the whole world to know that you are my Mrs. Gu." 3 years later, he took his whole family to another island and married another woman. I walked slowly back to the study and opened the safe. Inside, there was only one thing, a USB drive and a manila envelope. The USB drive contained evidence of the Gu Group's tax evasion over the past 2 years, along with bank records showing Gu Jingheng transferring marital assets through 7 offshore companies. The manila envelope held photos taken by a private investigator of him and Lu Mengyao living together, and a record of Lu Mengyao spending a total of 43 million yuan on Gu Jingheng's supplementary card. I had actually prepared all of this 6 months ago. That was the first time I found out Gu Jingheng was cheating. I did not make a scene. I did not cry or wail. I didn't even confront him face to face. I simply hired the best lawyer, found the most professional corporate investigation firm and spent 6 months stripping Gu Jingheng and his family down to their bare bones. I had been hesitating about whether to use it. After all, we were husband and wife, but today, the way he looked at Lu Mengyao, the smug laughter of his 12 family members, every single gloating post they shared on social media, all of it told me one thing: Yi Xinglan, if you don't strike back, they'll really think you're a pushover. I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Hello? Attorney Chen, it's me, Ms. Yi. You finally called. Did you see the news? I did. So, are you ready to activate that plan? I leaned back into my chair, staring up at the crystal chandelier on the ceiling. This chandelier, Gu Jingheng and I picked it out together. Back then, he said it had to be the best, because it was worthy of me. Now that I think about it, that chandelier suits his face better, thick as his skin is. Activate it, I said. I've sent you the email, all the materials are inside. Contact the customs authorities. Once they receive the whistleblower report, they must file the case within 72 hours. Understood. And Gu Jingheng, isn't he holding his wedding in Bali? I let out a laugh. Let him have it. Let him enjoy it. Get on the plane happy. The moment their feet touch Chinese soil, the customs officers will give them a proper welcome. Ms. Yi, I need to remind you, if this report is established, Gu Jingheng could face 3 to 7 years in prison. The rest of the Gu family involved in money laundering and asset transfers will also be implicated. Attorney Chen, I said, standing up and walking to the window. I pulled back the curtains, staring out at the heavy night. When he married me, he swore in front of everyone that he'd treat me well for life. When he betrayed me, did he ever think I was his legal wife? When he took his whole family to his second wedding, did he ever think I was a human being too, that I could hurt? Silence on the other end for a few seconds. I understand. I'll get on it now. Wait, I said, the 13th folder on that USB drive. The password is her birthday. Inside is a recording. Last month, Gu Jingheng and Lu Mengyao discussing in a hotel room how to transfer the 3 properties under my name. Cut that recording out separately and send it to Lu Mengyao's agency. You want to? She traded my man for the title of Mrs. Gu. Then she should be ready to trade everything she has to pay it back. I hung up and sat in the empty living room. The TV was still on, the live broadcast showing Lu Mengyao tossing the bouquet. Gu Mingzhu caught it, shrieking with excitement. Wang Milan clapped and cheered beside her, saying, Mingzhu, you're next. What a lively family. I pressed the remote and turned off the TV. Silence. I poured myself a glass of red wine, sat on the sofa, crossed my legs, and drank slowly. Occasionally, a car horn sounded from outside. The city lights flickered on one by one in the distance. Tomorrow, Gu Jingheng and Lu Mengyao would be on their honeymoon in Bali. The day after, they'd take a luxury yacht out to sea. The day after that, the whole family would celebrate at the most expensive restaurant in town, and the day after that, they'd board their flight back home. That day would be the beginning of their nightmare. I raised my glass and clinked it against the air. Have a pleasant trip. My phone buzzed again, this time, a WeChat message from Lu Mengyao. The photo showed her lying in Gu Jingheng's arms. The background, a 5-star hotel presidential suite. The caption was only 4 words, "Good night, big sister." I stared at her carefully edited face, smiled, and replied with 2 words, "Sweet dreams." Then I turned on airplane mode, tossed my phone onto the sofa, walked into the bathroom, turned on the faucet, and soaked in a long, comfortable bath. Cry not happening from today on. Yi Xinglan's tears would never again be shed for Gu Jingheng, but his blood, I'd make sure it dripped out slowly. Chapter 2, The counterattack begins. Airplane mode stayed on all night. When I woke up, the screen showed 43 missed calls and hundreds of WeChat messages. I didn't read a single one, I just deleted them. At 7 in the morning, the doorbell rang. Sister Zhou answered it. The man at the door was dressed in a suit, carrying a briefcase. My lawyer, Chen Mingyuan, Ms. Yi. I've gone through all the materials you sent me last night. Chen Mingyuan sat across from me, pulling a stack of documents from his bag. The chain of evidence is solid, especially the flow chart of funds from those 7 offshore companies. I've also obtained the bank's cooperation letter. For the Customs and Economic Crime Investigation departments, I've submitted the formal whistleblowing materials under your authorized name. I poured him a cup of tea. What's the earliest we can get the case filed? The reported amount is massive. Just the marital property transfer alone exceeds 200 million, plus the tax Evasion part, the total is at least 400 to 500 million. Chen Mingyuan pushed up his glasses. By normal procedures, 3 to 5 business days, but I've spoken with an old classmate in the economic crime division. He said if the materials are solid, the internal approval could go through in as fast as 72 hours. 72 hours, I calculated the timeline. Gu Jingheng's itinerary had him returning in 3 days, perfect timing, and the customs detention step, I asked, that requires multi-department coordination. My suggestion is, the moment they land, customs detains them on suspicion of smuggling and money laundering, while the economic crime division simultaneously initiates the investigation process. This way, it's legally compliant and catches them off guard. I nodded. Chen Mingyuan had thought through these details more thoroughly than I had. Chen Mingyuan took a sip of tea, hesitating as he glanced at me. Ms. Yi, there's something I need to confirm with you. The 3 properties under your name were purchased with marital joint assets. By law, Gu Jingheng has the right to claim half, but in the recording you provided, he explicitly said, find a way to transfer those 3 properties out, can't let Yi Xinglan hog them all. That statement is extremely damaging to him in court, so I specifically clipped it out. I said, he said it himself, can't deny that, right? Can't deny it. Chen Mingyuan smiled, and Lu Mengyao also dropped some golden lines. In that recording, like hurry up and divorce her, I want one of those 3 properties as my studio. If that gets out, it's a devastating blow to her public image. I set down my teacup, handle that recording for me, cut out the sensitive parts, keep the core dialogue, and then, send it to Lu Mingyao's management company. Chen Mingyuan finished my sentence. No, I shook my head, not yet. Let me see how she performs first. Isn't she obsessed with posting on social media? Let her post too. Her heart's content. Once her Mrs. Gu persona is firmly established, then I'll tear it out by the roots. That's when it'll really hurt. Chen Mingyuan looked at me with a hint of admiration. Ms. Yi, honestly, I've been a divorce lawyer for 15 years, and I rarely see clients as composed as you. Most wives, when they find out their husband is cheating, their first instinct is to lash out and fight, and they end up hurting themselves in the process. Does fighting help? I stood up and walked to the window. Look at Wang Mylin. When she found out old man Gu had a mistress, she cried and threatened to jump off the building. In the end, she just swallowed it, endured for 20 years, until the old man died, and she got less inheritance than the illegitimate son born to that other woman. I turned around, so I won't fight. I'll let them dig their own graves. Chen Mingyuan closed the folder. So what's the next step? 3 steps next. I held up 3 fingers. First, dig up everything on Lu Mengyao. She's no ordinary minor celebrity. She managed to make Gu Jingheng abandon his wife and family in 3 months. Someone must have set it up. I need to know who that is. Second, find me a financial media outlet, preferably one that specializes in investigative reports on listed companies. Once Gu Group's tax evasion is exposed, the stock price will drop at least 30%. I need to dump all my shares before the news breaks. Third, I paused, find me a reliable private bank, transfer all my cash, investments, and funds into accounts I control alone. This needs to be fast. Gu Jingheng might be abroad, but his company's CFO is his man. He could notice my account activity at any time. Chen Mingyuan jotted everything down. For the share sell-off, I'll need to coordinate with your stockbroker. You currently hold 15% of Gu Group, worth about 300 million at current market value. Selling all at once would cause stock volatility and tip him off, then sell in batches, I said. Over 5 days, 3% each day. Gu Jingheng is honeymooning in Bali. Why would he bother checking his stock account? All right, I'll get on it. After Chen Mingyuan left, I sat in the study, opened my laptop, and logged into an encrypted email account I'd been using for 2 years. Inbox. There were over a dozen emails from the private investigator. The last one was sent at 11 last night, with the subject line, "Complete record of Gu Jingheng's Bali wedding." I opened the attachment, which contained over 200 high-definition photos and 4 videos. The first video was of Gu Jingheng and Lu Mengyao exchanging rings at the wedding. The second video was a group photo of the 12 members of the Gu family after the wedding, each face beaming with bright smiles. The third video was Gu Jingheng's wedding speech, where he said, "Mengyao is the most important person in my life, and I will love her with all my heart for the rest of my life." The fourth video was of Wang Mylin holding Lu Mengyao, saying to the camera, I only recognized this daughter-in-law, that previous one, humph, what was she even worth? I watched the fourth video 3 times when Wang Mylan said, that previous one, humph, what was she even worth? Gu Mingzhu chimed in from the side, exactly, Yi Xinglan, that jinx, wasted my brother's years, what was she even worth? Jinx years. I jotted down these words in my memo, then closed the video, opened a new document, and started typing. The document was titled, Supplementary Report on Suspected Illegal Activities by Gu Jingheng and the Gu Group. I listed 9 clues in detail, the timeline of Gu Jingheng's transfer of marital assets, the names and registration locations of 7 offshore companies involved, specific bank account numbers and fund flows, records of Lu Mengyao using Gu Jingheng's supplementary card, including her using it to pay the down payment on her mother's house in Hainan, evidence of Gu Jingfeng cooking the companies books, and information on 3 shell companies under Wang Mylan's name. Each clue had a corresponding evidence number. Each one was enough to land them in prison for a few years. Halfway through typing, my phone rang. This time, it wasn't WeChat, it was a call, caller ID. Gu Jingheng, my husband, who hadn't contacted me in 3 days, finally remembered to call me after his wedding with his mistress was over. I answered but didn't speak. Xinglan, his voice came through, laced with obvious guilt and hesitation. Did you see the news? What news? My voice was calm. I've been busy organizing things these past few days, haven't checked my phone much. There was a 2-second silence on the other end. He clearly breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, nothing, just the company held some event, and the media made a mess of it. Don't overthink it, okay? Mengyao and I are just a business partnership. Business partnership? What a business partnership? A partnership that involved wearing wedding dresses and exchanging rings by the sea, a partnership that included kissing and hugging from start to finish. Jingheng, I deliberately softened my voice, I trust you, enjoy yourself out there, don't worry about things at home, really. His tone was noticeably lighter. Then, is there anything you want to say to me? No, I said with a smile, as long as you're happy. I hung up and continued typing, as long as you're happy. I'll make sure you remember those 4 words for the rest of your life. At 3 in the afternoon, Chen Mingyuan messaged me, the internal approval from customs has gone through. As soon as Gu Jingheng's group's flight lands, customs will detain all the Gu family members for questioning on suspicion of smuggling. At the same time, the Economic Investigation Department will freeze all funds in Gu Jingheng's personal accounts and the Gu group's corporate accounts. In other words, the moment they set foot on their homeland, their bank cards, credit cards, even mobile payments, everything will be frozen. Not a single cent can be swiped, not a second's delay. I replied to Chen Mingyuan, book me a ticket to Sanya. Sanya, yes, I typed, they're honeymooning in Bali. I'll be sunbathing in Sanya. When they return to the country, I'll be on my way from the airport to travel the world. I want Gu Jingheng to watch me walk into the boarding gate with his own eyes, while he himself is being invited into the interrogation room by customs. Isn't that too risky? What if he flips out on the spot? Flip out, I laughed, typing even faster. Let him try. With so many people and cameras at the airport, if he dares to lay a finger on me, I'll add another charge to his record, assault. Chen Mingyuan sent a thumbs up emoji. I closed the chat window and opened my moments. Lu Mengyao had posted another update, a 9-grid photo set, all intimate shots of her and Gu Jingheng on a yacht. The caption read, "Thank you, hubby, for my honeymoon surprise. I'm the happiest woman in the world." There were already over 300 comments below, a flood of congratulations, Mrs. Gu, such a perfect match, so sweet, and the like. I tapped on the comment box, typed 4 words, hesitated for a moment, then deleted them. It wasn't time yet. Let them fly a little longer. The higher they fly, the harder they fall. At 9 in the evening, I received a message from the boss of Lu Mingyao's agency. This guy had worked with me once before, so we were sort of acquaintances. He sent me a news link and followed it up with a loaded remark. Xinglan, I just found out about this too. Mingyao's contract still has 3 years left. If you're planning to take her down, give me a heads up first so I know which side to pick. I replied with 1 word, okay. Then I opened the link he sent. It was an entertainment news article titled Exclusive. The real sugar daddy behind Lu Mengyao isn't Gu Jingheng, but this mysterious big shot. The article said that in less than 2 years since her debut, Lu Mingyao's resources were ridiculously good. Her first role was the female lead second, and her second role was directly the female lead. all backed by a powerful team pulling the strings, and Gu Jingheng, he was just one piece of her marrying into wealth plan. The article also included a blurry photo, a man in his 50s talking to Lu Mengyao outside a hotel. The man's face was unclear, but his build and demeanor reminded me of someone Gu Jingheng's father, Gu Yuanshan. No, Gu Yuanshan had been dead for 3 years, but the way he stood, the angle of his hand in his pocket, the slight hunch in his posture, it was almost identical. A chill crept up my spine. Could there be an even bigger scandal lurking behind Gu Jingheng's so-called true love? I picked up my phone and sent a message to my private investigator. Dig up someone for me. Lu Mingyao's entire background before she debuted, especially any connections she might have had with any member of the Gu family, including the deceased. After sending it, I leaned back in my chair, staring at the ceiling. This pool of water seemed deeper than I thought, but that's fine. The murkier the water, the easier it is to fish. Gu Jingheng, Lu Mengyao, the 12 members of the Gu family, take your time playing. I'll be waiting to see your final expressions. Chapter 3, The Wedding Humiliation Escalates. Bali, 2 in the morning. I don't know why, but I suddenly woke up and instinctively grabbed my phone to check. Sure enough, Lu Mengyao had posted another update on her moments. This time, the 9-grid photo set had a new theme, the Gu family's full family portrait. First photo, Wang Mylan hugging Lu Mengyao, their heads touching, looking like mother and daughter. The caption read, "Thanks for the surprise gift today, Mom." In the photo, Lu Mengyao was wearing a jade bracelet. I recognized it. It was the Gu family heirloom. Wang Mylan had once told me personally, "I'll pass this to you once you give me a grandson." Second photo, Gu Mingzhu and Lu Mengyao taking a selfie by the pool, both in bikinis, laughing hysterically. The caption read, "Me and my sister-in-law." Third photo, Gu Jingfeng's wife, Lu Fang, with her 2 kids eating ice cream with Lu Mengyao. The kids were calling her little aunt, and Lu Mengyao was beaming like a ray of sunshine. Fourth photo, Gu Jingheng and Lu Mengyao kissing, with the Bali sunset over the sea in the background. The caption had just one word, eternal. I scrolled through each one, a slow smile creeping across my face. Shamelessness knows no bounds. I never believed that saying before, but now I do. The comments section was even more entertaining. Wang Mylan herself left a comment, "Mengyao, Mom loves a daughter-in-law like you, sensible and beautiful. As for that other one, don't even mention her. Bad luck." Gu Mingzhu piled on, exactly. My brother's eyes were broken before, but now they're finally fixed." Lu Fang chimed in too, "Sister Mengyao, you're family now, come over and hang out often." Beneath that, a bunch of the Gu family's relatives and friends chimed in unison with, "Hello, Mrs. Gu, congratulations, Boss Gu, what a perfect couple." No one mentioned my name, as if Yi Xinglan had never existed. I took over 20 screenshots and saved them in a folder named Evidence. Then I opened Lu Mingyao's private chat and sent her a message, "Does the bracelet look good?" Within 10 seconds, she replied, Lu Mengyao, Yi Xinglan, how did you add me? Lu Mengyao, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, Mom said this bracelet was always meant to be mine. You were married in for 3 years and couldn't even pop out a kid, and you still had the nerve to cling to the title of Mrs. Gu. I smiled and kept typing. There are 3 characters engraved on the inside of that bracelet, passed to the eldest daughter-in-law. Do you know what that means? Lu Mengyao was silent for a few seconds, then sent a voice message. I tapped on it, and her voice was sharp and venomous. Yi Xinglan, don't you dare get all high and mighty with me. Do you know where Jingheng is right now? He's sleeping right next to me. And do you know what he said before he fell asleep? He said, Yi Xinglan is nothing. Once I'm back in the country, I'll kick her to the curb. You really think you're something? I listened, and instead of getting angry, I laughed. Gu Jingheng said, Yi Xinglan is nothing. Fine. I'll take those words to heart. I sent back a voice message, Miss Lu, keep that bracelet on tight and never take it off. In a few days, you'll realize that bracelet is the most valuable asset you'll ever own. After sending it, I blocked her, not because I was scared of her, but because I couldn't be bothered to watch her act a clown show. Watch too much, and it hurts your eyes. The next morning at 8 o'clock, I showed up at Chenming Yuan's office on the dot. Something's changed. Chenming Yuan's expression was serious. I found what you asked me to dig up. He handed me a file, covered in dense text. I skimmed it quickly, and my pupils contracted sharply. Lu Mengyao, real name Lu Tsuehua, 24 years old, from a small county in Hunan. Before she debuted, she worked as a waitress at a club under the Gu Group. Chenming Yuan pointed to a line in the file. Here's the key. The club where she worked as a waitress has its legal representative as Wang Mylin. Wang Mylin, I froze, Gu Jingheng's biological mother, exactly, and that's not all. Chen Mingyuan flipped to the next page. Lu Mingyao worked at that club for 3 months, and then someone recommended her to join a talent show. The recommender's name is Gu Jingfeng. Gu Jingfeng, Gu Jingheng's uncle, the vice president of the Gu Group. It gets even crazier. Chen Mingyuan flipped another page. After Lu Mingyao joined the talent show, she signed with the agency Starlight Culture. And guess who the major shareholder of that company is? Who? Wang Mylin's younger sister, Wang Meifang. Wang Meifang, Wang Mylin's biological sister, Gu Jingheng's aunt. I took a deep breath and slowly leaned back in my chair. So, every step Lu Mingyao took into the entertainment industry was pushed by the Gu family behind the scenes, you could say that. Chen Mingyuan adjusted his glasses, and the timeline checks out. Lu Mingyao met Gu Jingheng much earlier than you thought. Not 3 months ago, but a year and a half ago, a year and a half ago. Back then, I hadn't discovered Gu Jingheng's cheating. Back then, I was still at home every day, making him soup and waiting for him to come back. Back then, I was still foolishly believing that our marriage, though dull, was at least stable. So, a year and a half ago, they were already paving the way for me. Not paving the way, digging a pit for me. There's one more thing. Chen Mingyuan's tone grew heavier. I checked Gu Jingheng's travel records for the past year. He went on business trips to Bali at least 6 times. Every time he stayed at that hotel, Lu Mingyao checked in on the same day, so that wedding wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing, it was premeditated. Premeditated, Chen Mingyuan nodded, and I suspect the wedding was just a smokescreen. Their real goal might be tied to your shares. Suddenly, it clicked. You mean, they staged this wedding, hyped it up deliberately, just to provoke me into filing for divorce? Exactly, as long as you file for divorce. According to the prenuptial agreement, you forfeit all assets. Gu Jingheng gets your shares, your house, your savings, all of it, without lifting a finger. I remembered the agreement I signed before the wedding. Back then, Gu Jingheng said it was just to satisfy the family's demands, and I didn't think twice before signing. Now, it was clear, that was the real trap. But if I file for divorce and walk away with nothing, why would they bother transferring assets? Why not just wait for me to divorce? Chen Mingyuan spread out another file. Because they can't wait. The Gu Group's cash flow has hit a snag. There's a hole of at least 500 million that needs filling. Gu Jingheng needs to transfer your assets to plug that gap. So, my shares are their lifeline. Exactly, your 15%, plus Gu Jingheng's 30%, totals 45%. If they consolidate those two parts, they can bring in new investors, dilute the other shareholders' stakes, and shift the losses onto others. If you divorce and leave with nothing, that 15% automatically goes to Gu Jingheng. I stared at the pile of documents on the table, silent for a long time. So that's how it was. No wonder the whole family was in on it. No wonder Wang Mylin had been so critical of me, never giving me a good face from the very first day I stepped through the door. No wonder Gu Mingzhu had been at odds with me at every turn, constantly saying, "You're not worthy of my brother." No wonder Gu Jingheng's attitude toward me had grown colder and colder, until he finally just stopped coming home. It turned out that from the very beginning, this family had been scheming against me. I hadn't married into a wealthy family. I had walked straight into an elaborately laid trap. Attorney Chen, I looked up. If I file for divorce now, what happens? According to the prenuptial agreement, you walk away with nothing, all assets, shares, properties. Everything goes to Gu Jingheng. What if I don't file for divorce, but instead wait until their illegal activities are exposed, and then sue for divorce as the injured party? Chen Mingyuan's eyes lit up. That would be a different outcome. If you can prove that Gu Jingheng committed serious misconduct during the marriage, such as transferring marital assets, cohabiting with another person, or being involved in illegal activities, then the court can invalidate the prenuptial agreement. In that case, not only would you not walk away empty-handed, you could demand a share of most of the joint assets, and even seek compensation. Then I'll wait, I said. I'll wait until they're at their most complacent, until they think they've won, then I'll make my move. I suggest you wait for one more person. Chen Mingyuan suddenly lowered his voice. Do you remember Gu Yuanshan's illegitimate son, Gu Jingheng's half-brother? Wasn't he supposed to have gone abroad years ago and cut all ties with the Gu family? He's back. Chen Mingyuan pulled a photo from his bag and handed it to me, and he's holding a copy of Gu Yuanshan's will. It states that 20% of the shares of the Gu group should belong to him. Back then, Wang Milan forged the will and kicked him out. Now, he wants to take back what's rightfully his. In the photo was a man in his 30s. His features bore a slight resemblance to Gu Jingheng's, but his aura was completely different. His eyes were deep, carrying a dark, brooding intensity. What's his name? Gu Jingshan. Gu Jingshan, I repeated the name in my mind, then looked at Chen Mingyuan. You know him, he contacted me, Chen Mingyuan said. He told me he's been keeping an eye on the Gu family's movements. After learning about your situation, he wants to cooperate with you. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I thought for a moment, set up a meeting. When, as soon as possible, at 3 o'clock that afternoon, I met Gu Jingshan at a private club. He looked thinner than in the photo, but his gaze was sharper. He wore a black shirt with the sleeves rolled up to his forearms, and an old-looking watch on his wrist. Yi Xinglan, he cut straight to the chase. I know you have evidence of Gu Jingheng's asset transfers, and I know you've already reported him, but there's one thing you don't know. What? Gu Jingheng's trip to Bali for the wedding isn't just to humiliate you. Gu Jingshan took a USB drive out of his pocket and slid it across the table. His real goal is to set up an offshore trust overseas. Once that trust is established, all the evidence you have will be useless, because that money will become legal overseas assets. I froze. What do you mean? I mean, you have 72 hours, before they return, to get the relevant domestic authorities to formally open a case. Otherwise, once the offshore trust procedures are complete, all that money will legally become Lu Mingyao's premarital personal property, and you won't be able to recover a single cent. 72 hours, I glanced at my watch. It's 3 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon. Their flight is at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. That means I have to get all the paperwork done before the end of work on Friday. Exactly. Gu Jingshan looked at me. Can you do it? I didn't answer. Instead, I picked up my phone and dialed a number. Hello, Director Zhang. This is Yi Xinglan. I have an urgent situation to report to you. It's a major lead regarding the Gu Group's suspected money laundering through an offshore trust. There was a pause as I listened to the voice on the other end. My expression gradually darkened. I hung up the phone and looked at Gu Jingshan. Director Zhang says that if the offshore trust thing is true, the nature of this case changes. It's no longer a simple civil dispute, it's a criminal offense. The sentence goes from 3 to 7 years, to 7 to 15 years. A slow smile spread across Gu Jingshan's lips. Then let me congratulate you in advance, Ms. Yi. I shook my head. Not congratulations for me. Congratulations for us. Outside the window, the setting sun had dyed the entire city a bloody red. That color suited the Gu family perfectly. Chapter 4, Celebrating the Return Boarding. Bali. At the boarding gate, Gu Jingheng lounged on the sofa in the first-class lounge, legs crossed, a glass of champagne in hand. He was in a great mood. More precisely, the past 5 days had been the best 5 days in 3 years. The wedding was grand. His little bride was sweet and attentive. The whole family showed up. Even his usually difficult uncle, Gu Jingfeng, had clapped him on the shoulder at the banquet and said, Jingheng, you're the pride of the Gu family. What made him even more smug was that Yi Xinglan hadn't made a peep when he called to test the waters that day. Her voice was as gentle as ever. She even said, do whatever makes you happy. A woman who sees her own husband marry someone else and still says, do whatever makes you happy, either she's stupid to the bone, or she's scared shitless. Gu Jingheng was convinced Yi Xinglan was the latter. After all, the prenup was ironclad. If she dared to kick up a fuss, she'd walk away with nothing. Without the Gu family's halo, what was Yi Xinglan, a graduate from some run-of-the-mill university, couldn't even land a decent job. Honey, what are you thinking about? Lu Mingyao returned from the restroom, wearing a canary yellow dress, her hair loose on her shoulders, her makeup flawless like a magazine cover. She plopped down next to Gu Jingheng, pressing her body against his, her head resting on his shoulder. You. Gu Jingheng leaned down and kissed her forehead. Stop it. Lu Mingyao giggled, pulling out her phone from her bag. Come on, let's take a picture. I want to post it on Moments. Their faces pressed together. Lu Mingyao snapped the photo, then started editing, adding filters, and writing a caption. Honey, look, how about this? Last day of our honeymoon. Can't bear to leave this beautiful place. Thank you, hubby, for giving me the best love in the world. Write whatever you want. Gu Jingheng took a distracted sip of his champagne. His mind wasn't on her moment's post, it was on that offshore trust. Last night, he'd signed the final documents at a lawyer's office in Bali. According to the plan, the money would first be transferred to a shell company in the Cayman Islands, then from there to a trust fund under Lu Mingyao's name. The whole process would take about 7 business days, once the paperwork was done. That money would have nothing to do with Yi Xinglan. In 7 days, he'd have his lawyer deliver the divorce papers to Yi Xinglan. When that time came, she'd sign whether she wanted to or not. Sis, Gu Mingzhu bounced over, phone in hand. Mom wants you to see this. Gu Jingheng took the phone. On the screen was a photo, Wang Mylan standing in a jewelry store, holding a jade bangle, beaming. Mom bought another bangle. Gu Jingheng frowned. Not bought, appraised. Gu Mingzhu said excitedly. Mom said she wanted to get the family heirloom bangle appraised to see how much it's worth. Mengyao looks amazing wearing it, so Mom said she'd get her a matching one to make a pair. Wasn't that bangle given to Yi Xinglan? Gu Jingheng asked. Given to her, as if. Wang Mylan's voice cut in from the side. She walked over with a cup of coffee, her face full of disdain. That bangle is the Gu family heirloom, passed down to the eldest daughter-in-law. What right does Yi Xinglan have to be the eldest daughter-in-law? 3 years in the family, not even a fart out of her, and she still has the nerve to hog it. I took it back ages ago. Gu Jingheng said nothing. He actually knew Wang Mylan had taken the bangle back, but he couldn't be bothered to care. It was just a bangle. Whether Yi Xinglan had it or not didn't matter. Mom's right. Lu Mengyao chimed in immediately. Mom, when I get back, I'll wear that bangle every day. Let everyone see who the real eldest daughter-in-law of the Gu family is. Now that's a sensible girl. Wang Mylan took Lu Mingyao's hand, looking more and more pleased. Jingheng, when are you signing that divorce agreement with Yi Xinglan? Hurry up and sign it, marry Mengyao, and let Mom wait for a grandchild. Soon, Gu Jingheng said. Once she signs, this will be over. What if she refuses to sign? Gu Mingzhu interjected. How dare she refuse? Wang Mylan snorted. The prenup is crystal clear. Divorce means she walks away with nothing. She'll sign whether she wants to or not. The boarding announcement rang out. Passengers traveling to Shanghai, China, please be advised that flight MU-5028 is now boarding. Gu Jingheng stood up, one hand on his suitcase, the other around Lu Mingyao's waist, striding toward the boarding gate. Behind him, the 12 members of the Gu family followed in a grand procession. Wang Mylan led the way, a new pearl necklace around her neck, the jade bangle she'd taken back from Yi Xinglan on her wrist, glittering from head to toe. Gu Mingzhu followed behind her mother, dragging a limited edition pink suitcase she'd bought at the Bali duty-free shop using Gu Jingheng's supplementary card. It cost 38,000 yuan. Gu Jingfeng walked in third place, clutching a stack of documents, his itinerary for the project inspection in Bali over the past few days. The so-called inspection was just him snapping photos at a few scenic spots to later cook the books for reimbursement. Lu Feng held the hands of 2 kids. The older one 8, the younger 5, each child clutched a Balinese wood carving, chattering about showing them off to their classmates back home. Behind them came Gu Jingfeng's in-laws, a couple in their 60s, tagging along for a free ride this time. They were grinning ear to ear, telling everyone they met, our son-in-law is so successful. Then came Wang Mylan's sister, Wang Meifang, with her freshly divorced daughter. The mother-daughter duo mooched off everything the whole trip, not spending a dime, and even swiped 4 bath towels from the hotel on their way out. At the very back were the Gu family's driver, old Lu, and the nanny, Sister Zhang. Old Lu hauled over a dozen pieces of luggage, while Sister Zhang catered to Wang Mylan's every need the entire time, not even getting a proper hot meal. 12 people, 12 boarding passes, 12 seats. First class took 6 seats, business class 4, and economy 2. Just the plane tickets alone cost nearly 400,000 yuan. That money, of course, came from the Gu Group's corporate account. Gu Jingheng never saw a problem with it. The company was his, the money was his, he could spend it however he wanted. The plane took off. Lu Mengyao leaned against Gu Jingheng's shoulder, eyes closed, a satisfied smile curling at her lips. She was already thinking about what she'd do first when they got back home. Go straight to Yi Xinglan's villa and throw out every single thing belonging to Yi Xinglan, then she'd redecorate, turning the bedroom into her favorite pink tones and doubling the size of the walk-in closet to store all her designer bags and haute couture gowns. She'd also post a photo of herself in the villa's living room on her social feed. She'd already written the caption, "New home, new life, new beginning." Wang Mylan sat in the 3rd row of first class, scrolling through photos on her phone. She picked a few group shots from the wedding and sent them to the family chat. captioning them, "A joyous day for the Gu family." The chat exploded instantly, relatives flooded in with congratulations. Some said, "Sister Mylan, you're so lucky," others said, "The new bride is gorgeous," and a few chimed in, "The Gu family is really thriving." Wang Mylan read through each one, nodding with satisfaction. She remembered 3 years ago, when Yi Xinglan first entered the family, she'd posted similar photos, but back then, the comments weren't nearly as lively, because Yi Xinglan came from an ordinary background. And the relatives didn't think much of her. Now, things were different. Lu Mengyao might just be a minor celebrity, but at least she was young and pretty, and she looked good in public. Plus, Lu Mengyao was obedient, unlike Yi Xinglan, who always carried herself with that unyielding, unflappable air that made Wang Mylan's blood boil. "Mom, have some juice." Lu Mengyao handed a glass of fresh squeezed orange juice from the front row, her smile sweet. "Ah, good girl." Wang Mylan took the cup, feeling even more pleased. This was the kind of daughter-in-law she wanted, savvy, sweet-talking, easy to control. Gu Mingzhu sat by the window, live streaming on her phone. "Hey everyone, I'm Gu Mingzhu, and I'm on the plane back home right now. I just had an amazing trip to Bali with my family. Wanna know why my family's so rich? Because my brother's the CEO of the Gu Group. Ha 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 ha." The comments flew by in a frenzy, with over 50,000 viewers online. Gu Mingzhu was thrilled. She'd started this account 3 months ago, and in just 3 months, she'd gained 500,000 followers. Her persona was a heiress takes you around the world, posting daily shots of mansions, luxury cars, and high-end goods. Fans cursed her for flaunting her wealth while frantically hitting the like button. "Oh, and by the way," Gu Mingzhu lowered her voice, sounding mysterious, "my brother pulled off something huge in Bali." "What is it? Guess." "Ah, I can't say too much, wait for the official announcement, but you'll find out then." The comments went even crazier. Some said, "Is your brother getting divorced?" Others said, "Is he marrying a new sister-in-law?" And a few chimed in, I know, he had a wedding in Bali, right? A friend of mine posted about it on their feed." Gu Mingzhu just smiled without a word, turned off the stream, and leaned back in her seat. She was already planning it out. The day Yi Xinglan got kicked out, she'd film a special video titled, "The Original Wife Walks Away with Nothing. My Brother Marries His True Love." That video's view count, conservatively, it could break 1 million. Lu Fang was sitting in business class, coaxing her 2 children to sleep. Her husband, Gu Jingfeng, was flipping through documents beside her. As he turned the pages, he suddenly frowned. "What's wrong?" Lu Fang asked. "Nothing." Gu Jingfeng closed the file. "There are a few accounts at the company that don't add up. I'll need to check them when we get back." Talking about accounts during the new year, Lu Fang shot him a glare. "Your brother's the CEO. Why are you worrying?" "True." Gu Jingfeng stuffed the file into his bag and closed his eyes, but something still nagged at him. Those accounts, Gu Jingheng had asked him to handle them. The amount involved was nearly 200 million. He'd felt something was off at the time, but Gu Jingheng said, "It's fine, just a temporary transfer," so he went along with it. Now that he thought about it, a temporary transfer of 200 million was a bit too much. Forget it, he wouldn't dwell on it. After all, if the sky fell, Gu Jingheng would be the one holding it up. The plane cut through the clouds, the sky outside the window a blinding blue. 12 people, each lost in their own sweet dreams. Wang Mylan dreamed she became the most glamorous old lady in the city, everyone calling her Mrs. Gu wherever she went. Gu Mingzhu dreamed she became a mega influencer with millions of fans, ads pouring in non-stop. Gu Jingfeng dreamed he got promoted to vice president, his salary doubled. Lu Mengyao dreamed she lived in a mansion, strolling in high-end gowns for afternoon tea every day. Gu Jingheng dreamed he finally shook off Yi Xinglan, starting a new life with Lu Mengyao. They were all smiling, but they didn't know that on the ground, someone was waiting for them, that someone held a key that could send them all crashing from the clouds into hell. That someone was Yi Xinglan. The plane's announcement crackled, "Ladies and gentlemen, this flight will arrive at Shanghai Pudong International Airport in 2 hours. The local ground temperature is 2 hours." The fate of 12 people was counting down. Chapter 5, Shocking Detention at Customs. Shanghai Pudong International Airport, Terminal 2. The plane landed smoothly, and a sparse round of applause rippled through the cabin. Gu Jingheng stood up and stretched, pulling out his phone to turn it on, but the flight attendant reminded him they hadn't reached the jet bridge yet, so he couldn't be bothered to wait, so he pressed the power button. Anyway, the screen lit up, and signal bars slowly appeared, messages flooded in one after another, his phone vibrating non-stop. He didn't pay much attention at first, until he saw the message from the finance director. Mr. Gu, the company accounts have been frozen. What's going on? Gu Jingheng's smile froze on his face. He scrolled down quickly. The finance director had sent over a dozen messages, starting from 2 hours ago, the tone shifting from confusion to anxiety, from anxiety to panic. Mr. Gu, not just the corporate account, your personal account has been frozen too, and Mrs. Wang Milan's account is also frozen. Mr. Gu's account is frozen too, and Ningxu's as well. What's going on? The economic crime unit just came by, saying we're suspected of money laundering and smuggling. Mr. Gu, get back here ASAP. Gu Jingheng's face went pale. Honey, what's wrong? Lu Mengyao leaned in, saw his phone screen, and froze too. What account freeze? Who froze it? I don't know. Gu Jingheng's voice tightened. Maybe it's a bank system glitch. Even as he said it, he didn't believe it. A bank system glitch that freezes over a dozen accounts at once, that targets every single Gu family member's account. The plane stopped, the cabin door opened, and passengers began to disembark. Gu Jingheng was the first out, his face ashen. Lu Mengyao followed close behind, her high heels clicking on the floor. Wang Milan still had no idea what was happening, chattering to Gu Mingzhu as they walked. When we get back, I'll have your brother buy you a bag. As soon as they entered the terminal, Gu Jingheng spotted something off. On the passageway of the departure hall stood over a dozen people in uniforms. Some were from customs, some from the economic crime unit, and a few in black suits who looked like they meant business. When they saw Gu Jingheng's group, they exchanged glances. Then a man in his 40s, the apparent leader, strode over. Are you Mr. Gu Jingheng? I am. Gu Jingheng forced himself to stay calm. What's the matter? I'm Officer Zhou from the Shanghai Customs Anti-Smuggling Bureau. The man flashed his badge. We've received a report suspecting you and your family of money laundering, smuggling, and illegal asset transfers during your trip abroad. Please cooperate with our investigation. What? Wang Milan shrieked. You've got the wrong people. My son is the CEO of the Gu Group. We're legitimate business people. What right do you have to stop us, ma'am? Please calm down, Officer Zhou said, his expression unchanged. We're not stopping anyone, we're just asking you to cooperate with an investigation according to the law. Please show us your passports and boarding passes. I won't. Wang Milan clutched her bag to her chest. This is a frame-up. I want a lawyer. I'm going to sue you. That's your right. Officer Zhou nodded. You can have a lawyer, but until they arrive, please cooperate with us. Behind them, the Gu family members were trickling out of the gate. When they saw the scene, they all froze in shock. Gu Jingfeng dragged his suitcase over. What's going on? Why can't we leave? Someone reported us for money laundering, Gu Jingheng said through gritted teeth. Who reported it? Gu Jingfeng's face went pale. He thought of the documents he'd seen on the plane, those nearly 200 million yuan in unexplained transfers. If those accounts were dug up, I don't know. Gu Jingheng looked at Officer Zhou. Officer Zhou, let me ask. Who's the informant? What exactly are they accusing us of? Sorry, the informant's identity is protected by law, Officer Zhou said. As for the details, you'll be briefed once you're in the interrogation room. For now, please hand over your passports and phones and come with us, everyone. Gu Mingzhu's voice cracked. Me too, you're Mr. Gu Jingheng's direct relative, so you're on the list as well. Gu Mingzhu's legs went weak, and she nearly collapsed. Lu Mingyao's face was ashen. She clung to Gu Jingheng's arm. Honey, what does this mean? I didn't do anything. I just went on a trip with you for a few days. How could? It's fine. Nothing will happen. Gu Jingheng reassured her, but his hands were shaking. His mind raced, trying to figure out who had reported them, a competitor, a business partner, or Yi Xinglan. The name suddenly popped into his head. No, impossible. Yi Xinglan was a pushover. She wouldn't even dare raise her voice at him, let alone have the guts to report him. But that offshore trust, no one else knew about it except him, Lu Mengyao, and the lawyer in Bali. The lawyer was an old partner he'd worked with for years. There was no way he'd betray him, and Lu Mengyao, even less likely. She wanted that money more than he did. That left only one possibility. Someone had been watching him for a long time. Officer Zhou, I'd like to make a phone call first, Gu Jingheng said. No, Officer Zhou shook his head. During the investigation, you can't contact anyone outside. Please cooperate. 4 uniformed officers approached and stood beside Gu Jingheng. Wang Milan, Gu Jingfeng, and Lu Mengyao, gesturing for them to move. Gu Jingheng took a deep breath and handed over his passport. He knew that fighting back now was useless. These were customs anti-smuggling agents, not people he could easily brush off. But as he handed over his passport, he glanced around out of the corner of his eye. The terminal was bustling with people. Many travelers saw the scene and pulled out their phones to take photos and videos. Some whispered, others said, "Isn't that the president of the Gu Group? And look at that setup. They must be in deep trouble." Gu Jingheng's dignity shattered in that moment. He, the president of the Gu Group, the youngest listed company CEO in the city, was being blocked at the airport by a group of customs officers, taken away like a criminal in front of hundreds of strangers. Wang Mylin was still struggling. "I'm not going. This is illegal detention. I want to see my lawyer. I want to call my husband." She stopped abruptly, because her husband, Gu Yuanshan, had been dead for 3 years. The thought made Wang Mylin's face go even whiter. She realized then that after Gu Yuanshan's death, her only legal support was her son, Gu Jingheng. But now, Gu Jingheng couldn't even save himself. "Mom, stop it," Gu Jingheng said quietly. "Go with them, we'll talk when we get there." "But," I said, "stop it." Wang Mylin was startled by her son's shout. She didn't dare say another word and obediently followed. Gu Mingzhu dragged her pink suitcase, crying as she walked. "Dad, Mom, I'm so scared." "Scared of what?" Gu Jingfeng glared at her. "We haven't done anything wrong. They'll clear it up and let us go." But his voice trembled as he said it, because he knew that the wrong things he'd done would be exposed with one check. The 12 people were split into 3 groups and taken to different interrogation rooms. Gu Jingheng, Lu Mengyao, and Wang Mylin were in one. Gu Jingfeng, Lu Feng, and the 2 kids were in another. Gu Mingzhu, Wang Meifeng and her daughter, Gu Jingfeng's in-laws, the driver old Lu, and the nanny sister Zhang were in the 3rd. The interrogation room was small, the fluorescent lights harsh and white. A line of red characters was plastered on the wall. "Confession earns leniency, resistance is met with severity." Gu Jingheng sat on the metal chair, facing a table. Across the table sat 2 people in uniform. One was older, around 45 or 46, with a stern expression. The other was younger, about 30, flipping through a thick stack of documents. Gu Jingheng, the older one, began. "Do you know what charges you're suspected of?" "No, I don't," Gu Jingheng said. "I'm a legitimate businessman. I've never done anything illegal." "A legitimate businessman?" The younger investigator let out a cold laugh, pulling a sheet of paper from the file. "Then how do you explain this report? Over the past 2 years, the Gu Group transferred a total of 473 million yuan in assets through 7 offshore companies. Of that, 210 million came from your personal account, and another 263 million came from the company's corporate account. Every single transaction has a complete bank record. Now you're telling me you're a legitimate businessman." The blood rushed to Gu Jingheng's head. These figures were more detailed than even what he knew himself. These are all normal business operations, he forced himself to say. "Cross-border fund allocation is very common for multinational companies, normal operations." The younger investigator pulled out another sheet of paper. "Then what about this one? Your wife?" "No, your legal wife, Yi Xinglan, has 3 properties under her name, with a total value of about 80 million yuan. Over the past 6 months, you forged her signature and impersonated her authorization 3 times to try and change the ownership of these properties. That act is called fraud." Gu Jingheng's lips began to turn pale. "And there's more." The older investigator took out a photo and slid it across the table to Gu Jingheng. "This is a photo of your wedding in Bali. The woman in this photo is Lu Mengyao, your mistress. Cohabiting with another person during a marriage is a civil fault, but if you think we're only looking into civil matters, you're wrong." He pulled out another document. "We checked all of Lu Mengyao's assets and found that over the past year, through the supplementary card and transfers you gave her, she accumulated a total of 43 million yuan in spending. One of those transactions was using your money to buy a house in Hainan for her mother. What's the nature of this money? It's marital joint property. Transferring marital joint property to a third party is called a legal transfer of marital property, and in serious cases, it constitutes a criminal offense." Gu Jingheng's hands began to tremble. He had thought that at worst, Yi Xinglan would sue for divorce, and he'd just pay some money to make it go away. He never expected that Customs and the Economic Crime Investigation Unit had dug up far more than just the divorce. "Gu Jingheng, I'm now formally notifying you," the older investigator stood up, "that you are being placed under criminal coercive measures on suspicion of money laundering, smuggling, and fraud." during the investigation, you are not allowed to leave Shanghai, you are not allowed to contact anyone outside, and all of your assets have been legally frozen." He paused. "You have the right to hire a lawyer, but until the lawyer arrives, you must cooperate with the investigation." Gu Jinghan collapsed into his chair, his mind a complete blank. In another interrogation room, Lu Mengyao was crying so hard her makeup was ruined. "I really don't know anything," she screamed at the investigator. "I just went out with him for a few days. He invited me to a wedding. I never took any money." The investigator expressionlessly played a recording. In the recording, a woman's voice was clear. "Hurry up and divorce her. I want one of those 3 apartments as a studio." That voice was Lu Mingyao's own. This is, Lu Mingyao's mouth fell open. "How did you get this?" "Provided by the whistleblower," the investigator said. "Miss Lu Mingyao, you are suspected of conspiring with Gu Jinghan to illegally transfer marital joint property, involving a substantial amount. Please cooperate with the investigation." Lu Mingyao's tears stopped instantly. Only one thought remained in her mind: "It's over, everything is over." In a third interrogation room, Wang Mylan was throwing a tantrum. "Do you know who my son is?" "My son is Gu Jinghan, the president of the Gu Group." "What right do you little cops have to arrest me?" An investigator looked up at her, his tone calm. "Ms. Wang Mylan, you are suspected of assisting Gu Jinghan in transferring assets, forging a will, and embezzling others' property. Your younger brother, Gu Jingchen, has already submitted relevant evidence to the court. Everything you say now will be used as evidence in court." Wang Mylan's tantrum came to an abrupt halt. Her face went from white to green, from green to purple. Her lips trembled for a long time, but she couldn't utter a single word. Gu Jingchen, that illegitimate son she had driven out of the house, he was back, and besides, he came back with evidence outside the airport. The sun was bright. No one knew that in those cold interrogation rooms, the fate of the 12 members of the Gu family was being rewritten. Chapter 6, The Phone Call Reversal. The fluorescent lights in the interrogation room were blindingly bright. Gu Jinghan had been questioned for 3 hours, his voice hoarse, but the 2 investigators kept firing questions, one after another, without stopping. "This money was transferred to a shell company in the Cayman Islands. Who signed off on it?" "I did." "This money was transferred from the shell company to Lu Mingyao's trust fund. Who authorized it?" "I did." "The property rights change authorization for these 3 houses, whose signature is on it?" "Mine." Every time Gu Jinghan answered with "I did," his face paled a shade. He finally understood that the person who reported him had more evidence in hand than he had imagined. Every single fund flow, every transfer record, every signature date, all of it was clear, precise, and unmistakable. He wanted to know who this person was, but the investigators wouldn't reveal a single word. "All right, that's enough for now," the older investigator said, standing up. "Wait here, we'll arrange for a lawyer to meet with you." "Wait," Gu Jinghan called out to him. "Can I make one phone call?" "No, just one." "To my wife?" "No, to my wife, Yi Xinglan. I want to ask her something." The investigator glanced at him, paused for a few seconds. "No." The door closed. Gu Jinghan sat alone in the empty room, his head in his hands, his mind fixated on one thought. "Yi Xinglan, was it you? Was it you who reported me?" He was going crazy. He had to know the answer. He pounded on the door. "I want to make a phone call. I have the right to make a phone call. You can't do this to me." A voice came from outside the door. "Your rights will be activated only after you're formally arrested. For now, you just wait." Gu Jinghan slumped back into his chair. He couldn't figure it out. Yi Xinglan, that pushover. That woman who hadn't dared to speak a harsh word in 3 years of marriage. How could she have gotten her hands on so much evidence? How could she know people from Customs and the Economic Crime Investigation Department? How could she have set up such a massive trap without him knowing a thing? Unless she had started preparing a long time ago, maybe even from the first time he cheated, she was already collecting evidence. Gu Jinghan remembered something. 6 months ago, one day he came home to grab something and saw Yi Xinglan organizing files in the study. At the time, he asked, "What are you doing?" She said, "Just sorting out some household receipts," and he didn't think anything of it. Now, looking back, those receipts were probably his evidence of guilt. And 3 months ago, Yi Xinglan suddenly asked him for the company's bank account number, saying she wanted to understand the family's financial situation. He impatiently gave her an account number and forgot about it. Yi Xinglan used that account to trace all his fund transfer records, and a month ago, Yi Xinglan said she wanted to change her phone and asked him to back up the data from her old one. He found it too troublesome, so he just bought her a new phone and tossed the old one in a drawer. That old phone contained all his chat records with Lu Mengyao. Gu Jinghen closed his eyes, regretting it so much he wanted to slap himself. He had underestimated her. He thought Yi Xinglan had no ability, no courage, no cunning. He thought that as long as he had the prenuptial agreement, Yi Xinglan would be at his mercy. He forgot one thing: a woman pushed to the edge is capable of anything. In the interrogation room next door, Wang Mylin was shouting at the investigators, "I'm telling you, I know your director. If you don't let me out of here, I'll make sure you regret it." The investigator remained expressionless. "Ms. Wang Mylin, the director you mentioned retired 3 years ago. He's living a quiet life in Hainan now. You can call him to come and bail you out." Wang Mylin was left speechless, and the investigator flipped through the files. "What you just said, I know your director, we'll record that. If you try to use connections to interfere with the case, that's an additional charge of obstruction of justice." Wang Mylin finally shut up. She slumped in her chair, her expression shifting from anger to fear. She remembered that 20 years ago, Gu Yuanshan had made a will, leaving 20% of the company's shares to that illegitimate son, Gu Jingchen. She thought it was unfair, so she colluded with a lawyer to forge a new will, changing Gu Jingchen's name to Gu Jingheng. She thought she had pulled it off flawlessly. Unexpectedly, 20 years later, Gu Jingchen returned, and he brought evidence with him. "Ms. Wang Mylin," another investigator walked over. "Regarding the forged will, is there anything you'd like to say?" Wang Mylin opened her mouth, wanting to deny it, but she knew denial was useless now. The evidence was right there. Anything she said would just be excuses. Can I call a lawyer?" "You may, we'll arrange it." Wang Mylin lowered her head, tears splattered onto the floor, one after another. She couldn't figure it out. She'd been sharp and cunning her whole life. How did she end up tripping over a little girl like Yi Xinglan? In another interrogation room, Lu Mengyao had stopped crying. She sat numbly in the chair, eyes swollen, lips cracked. The two investigators took turns questioning her, but all she gave them was "I don't know" or "I don't remember." Miss Lu Mengyao, the younger investigator, put down his pen. "Are you sure you want to keep being uncooperative like this? I really don't know anything." Lu Mingyao's voice was hoarse. I just liked Gu Jingheng. I never wanted his money, those transfer records, those spending records. He gave them to me willingly. I didn't force him. Did you or did you not say, 'Hurry up and divorce her'? I want one of those 3 apartments as a studio." Lu Mengyao bit her lip and said nothing. "It's crystal clear on the recording, your voice, your exact words. Do you really think a judge will believe you don't know anything? That was just a joke." Lu Mengyao suddenly got worked up. "It's the kind of joke a woman makes when she's being clingy with her boyfriend. How can you take it seriously?" The investigators exchanged a glance but said nothing. Lu Mengyao started crying again. This time, it was real crying, not playing the victim. She knew now. There was no dodging this. Gu Jingheng was Gu Jingheng. She was her. Gu Jingheng had money to hire the best lawyers and tried to reduce his sentence, but she couldn't even afford a decent lawyer, and her reputation was already ruined. Her agency would definitely drop her, and they might even sue her for breach of contract. Her life, at 24 years old, was completely destroyed. At the same time, a black business van pulled up in front of the airport departure hall. The door slid open, and Yi Xinglan stepped out. She wore a cream-colored trench coat, her hair loose over her shoulders, with light makeup on her face. She looked completely composed, like she was heading to the airport for a vacation. In her hand, she pulled a silver suitcase. In the trunk of the van, there were 2 even bigger cases. "Ms. Yi, your boarding pass." Chen Mingyuan handed an envelope from the car. "First class, window seat. This flight is direct to Paris, 11 hours. Someone will pick you up when you arrive." "Thanks." Yi Xinglan took the envelope. "How's it going over there?" "The Economic Crime Investigation Unit has officially filed the case. Gu Jingheng, Wang Mylin, and Gu Jingfeng have been placed under criminal coercive measures for suspected major economic crimes. Lu Mengyao has also been detained for allegedly transferring marital assets. The rest of the Gu family is still under investigation, but all their assets have been frozen." "What about Gu Mingzhu?" "Her social media accounts have been banned by the platform. The reason given is suspected of publishing illegal content. Also, netizens dug up her old flashy videos, and they've already hit the trending list. The comments are all roasting her." Yi Xinglan smiled. "Nice. Anything else?" the Gu Group's stock opened down 18% today and closed down 29%. The shares you sold off in batches all went through at high prices. After taxes, your personal account gained 280 million yuan. What about Lu Feng, Gu Jingfeng's wife? She hasn't been criminally charged yet, but all her assets are frozen. She took her 2 kids back to her parents' house, but apparently her mom wouldn't let her in. She's staying at a hotel now. Wang Meifang and her daughter, they're considered accomplices in helping transfer assets. They've been restricted from leaving the country. Wang Meifang's agency has been shut down. Yi Xinglan nodded and looked up at the airport departure hall right here. 2 hours ago, Gu Jinghen was taken away right here. He walked through this corridor for the last time as president of the Gu Group, and right here, his dream of a wealthy dynasty shattered completely. Oh, by the way, Ms. Yi, Chen Mingyuan suddenly remembered something. Gu Jinghen has been asking to make a phone call. He wants to call you. According to procedure, I can arrange the call, but it will be recorded. Do you want to take it? Yi Xinglan thought for a moment. Take it. Let him call. All right, I'll have them make the arrangements. Yi Xinglan dragged her suitcase into the airport terminal, found a quiet corner, and sat down to wait for the call. Her phone rang. The caller ID showed an unfamiliar number. She answered but didn't speak. On the other end of the line, Gu Jinghen's hoarse voice came through. Xinglan, is that you? It's me. You're the one who reported me. Yes. Gu Jinghen was silent for a long time, his voice laced with disbelief. Why? Yi Xinglan let out a soft laugh. What do you think? I know I was wrong, but Xinglan, we were husband and wife after all. Can't you just— No, Yi Xinglan cut him off. Gu Jinghen, when you say that, don't you find yourself disgusting? When you were having your wedding with your mistress, did you ever think about us being husband and wife? When your whole family was humiliating me on social media, did you think about it? When you transferred my assets, forged my signature, and tried to take my house, did you think about it? Yi Xinglan's voice was calm, but every word caught like a knife. When you said, "Who the hell does Yi Xinglan think she is?" did you ever stop to think who the hell you are? A sharp intake of breath came from the other end. How did you know I said that? Because your true love recorded your conversation and sent it to me? Gu Jinghen's voice shot up. Lu Mingyao, her, that's right, her, Yi Xinglan said. Did you think she actually loved you? She got with you for your money and your status. Before you, she was also hooking up with your uncle, Gu Jingfeng. You didn't know that, did you? A dull thud came through the phone, like a fist hitting a wall. Gu Jinghen, I'm telling you all this today not because I want an apology or a confession. I just want you to know one thing. The mess you're in now, you made it yourself. No one forced you to cheat. No one forced you to transfer my assets. No one forced your whole family to humiliate me. Every single thing you did was your own choice. And now, you have to pay for it, Xinglan. I'm begging you. Gu Jinghen's voice cracked with tears. Can you drop the charges? Let's talk this out. I'll give you anything you want. What I have now is already more than you could ever give me. Yi Xinglan stood up, dragging her suitcase toward the security checkpoint. Gu Jinghen, I hope you have a good time in there. Oh, and your true love Lu Mingyao, she'll be joining you soon. You two can have a family reunion in prison. Yi Xinglan, you can't do this. Yi Xinglan hung up. She took a deep breath, put her phone in her bag, and walked toward the security line. Behind her, sunlight streamed through the glass walls, casting her shadow long across the floor. Ahead of her were the security gates, the boarding gate, a plane to Paris, and a brand new beginning. She glanced back one last time at the city she'd lived in for 3 years, a faint smile curling at the corners of her lips. Gu Jinghen, thank you for showing me the true face of the elite, and thank you for making me stronger. She turned around and walked through the security checkpoint without looking back. Chapter 7, Internal Backstabbing Drama. In the detention room, the 12 members of the Gu family were locked up together in a large space. Gu Jinghen sat against the wall, head down, silent. Wang Milan sat on the floor, hugging her knees, muttering non-stop, "Impossible, impossible, there must be a mistake." Gu Mingzhu crouched in a corner, her head in her hands, sobbing quietly. Gu Jingfeng paced back and forth across the room, the floor creaking under his steps. Lu Feng sat on a chair holding 2 kids, one crying, the other throwing a tantrum. The scene was pure chaos. Can you stop pacing? Wang Meifang suddenly yelled at Gu Jingfeng. What's the point of walking back and forth? You're just making everyone more anxious. I'll walk if I want to. What's it to you? Gu Jingfeng shot her a glare. Everyone shut up. Wang Mylin stood up abruptly. What are you fighting about? Is this really the time for that? The room fell silent for 2 seconds, then Gu Mingzhu lifted her head, her eyes red and swollen, and looked at her mother. Mom, am I going to jail? Nonsense. Wang Mylin walked over and hugged her daughter tightly. You're not going to jail, you're innocent, you didn't do anything wrong. But I did, Gu Mingzhu cried. I used my brother's supplementary card to buy so many things, that money wasn't mine. Doesn't that count as asset transfer? Wang Mylin's mouth opened and closed, but no words came out, and me, Wang Meifang's daughter, the one who had just gotten divorced, spoke up timidly. I'm on the books at Auntie's agency, pulling in 20 grand a month, but I've never actually shown up for work. Auntie said it's a perk for family. Is this considered fraud too? Wang Mylin's face turned even darker. Mom, Gu Mingzhu grabbed Wang Mylin's arm. Tell the cops that money is ours. We can spend it however we want. Why can't we? Talking won't help, Gu Jingfeng said coldly. That money isn't ours, it's the company's. The company isn't yours alone, there are other shareholders. Taking money from the company for personal use is embezzlement. If the amount is big enough, it's misappropriation of funds. Do you know the threshold for that? How much? Gu Mingzhu asked. 60,000, Gu Jingfeng said. You've spent hundreds of thousands, do the math yourself. Gu Mingzhu's face went pale, and tears started streaming down her face. It's all your fault. She suddenly pointed at Lu Mengyao, her voice sharp and piercing. If you hadn't seduced my brother, how would our family have ended up like this? Lu Mengyao had been curled up in a corner, not daring to say a word. At Gu Mingzhu's accusation, she jerked her head up. Seduce your brother, he came after me. Ask him yourself. Bullshit, my brother would never go for trash like you. You don't think I'm good enough. Then what about that post you put up on Moments? My sister-in-law and sister-in-law is so pretty. Who wrote that? You got amnesia. I didn't know you back then. If I'd known you were like this, I never would have. Enough. Gu Jingheng finally spoke, his voice hoarse and low. Stop fighting. What's the point? Easy for you to say. Wang Mylin turned to him. Jingheng, I'm asking you, did you actually transfer that money or not? Tell me the truth. Gu Jingheng didn't answer. Just say it. I did. Wang Mylin's legs went weak, and she nearly fell. She steadied herself against the wall. How much? Over 400 million. Wang Mylin's eyes bulged like saucers. 400 million. Are you insane? Are you trying to bankrupt the entire Gu family? If I hadn't transferred that money, the company would have gone under. Gu Jingheng stood up abruptly. You guys just know how to spend. Do you have any idea how much the company was in the red? 500 million? A 500 million hole. If I hadn't used that money to plug it, the company would have been finished. You understand, that's your problem. Wang Meifang stepped forward too. You're the CEO. Figure out the company's issues yourself. Why drag us into it? Drag you into it? Gu Jingheng sneered. Mom, you say drag you into it, when you use the company's money to buy jewelry, handbags, and take overseas trips. Why didn't you say drag you into it, Mingzhu, when you flaunted your wealth as an influencer, showing off luxury cars and designer goods? Why didn't you say drag you into it, uncle, when you asked me to clean up that 200 million mess? Why didn't you say drag you into it? The room fell dead silent. Family means sharing the good times and the bad. Gu Jingheng's voice dripped with sarcasm. Now that the bad times are here, you want to wash your hands of it. Dream on. Lu Fang suddenly stood up, pointing at Wang Mylin. This is all your fault. If you hadn't insisted on that wedding, if you hadn't made such a big deal out of it, who would have targeted our family? My fault, Wang Mylin shrieked. Jingheng was the one who wanted the wedding. What does it have to do with me? Didn't you agree? Didn't you show up? Didn't you take pictures and post them on Moments? Didn't you say I accept this daughter-in-law? Lu Fang's voice grew more heated. If you had stopped it back then, none of this would have happened. Why would I stop it? Yi Xinglan is a jinx. I couldn't stand her from the start. If you couldn't stand her, you should have just made her leave. Why did you have to do it this way? You had to blow everything up, and now look, the whole family is going down together. Shut up. Wang Mylin lunged at Lu Fang, but Gu Jingfeng blocked her. Mom, Gu Jingfeng stood in front of his wife. Don't you dare touch her. What? I can't touch her. Your wife's got a big mouth, and I'm going to fix it. Who are you fixing? Lu Fang peeked out from behind Gu Jingfeng. Do you even know what kind of person you are? When you forged that will and kicked Gu Jingchen out of the house, I knew your karma would catch up with you one day. Well, here it is." Wang Milan's face turned the color of liver. How do you know about that?" "How would I not know? The whole Gu family knows." "You think no one knows what you've been up to? Everyone's been laughing at you behind your back, only you think you're so clever." Wang Milan was shaking with rage, her finger trembling as she pointed at Lu Feng. You ungrateful snake, all these years, how good have I been to you, buying you bags, watching your kids, helping you take care of your mother, and this is how you repay me? Good to me?" Lu Feng sneered. "You bought me that bag because you didn't like it anymore. You watched my kids so I could go out and earn money for the Gu family. You helped take care of my mom because you were afraid that if she died, no one would be around to babysit for you. You call that being good to me? That's called asterisk. Using asterisk me." "Enough," Gu Jinghen roared, slamming his fist into the wall. Everyone went silent. Gu Jinghen was panting, his eyes bloodshot. "Can you two just stop for a second? We're all in the same boat now. What's the point of screaming at each other? Who says we're in the same boat?" Wang Meifang suddenly spoke up. "Jinghen, let me ask you, do I and your niece have a share in that money?" "What share?" "The money you transferred out. You said it was to save the company." "Well, we have shares in the company too, so shouldn't we get a piece of that money?" Gu Jinghen stared at her in disbelief. "Auntie, are you crazy? The money's frozen now. Forget your share. I can't even get mine back, and you're still thinking about splitting it. Even if we can't get it back, there has to be some accountability." Wang Meifang wouldn't let it go. "Let me tell you, my and your niece's accounts are frozen too. There's over $1 million in there, my and your uncle's life savings, if that money's gone. You have to pay us back." "Pay you back?" Gu Jinghen let out a bitter laugh. "I don't even have my own money left. What am I supposed to pay you with?" "That's your problem," Wang Meifang said. "I don't care. The money was lost through you, so you're responsible." "Auntie, can you be reasonable for once?" "No, I just want my money." As the two argued furiously, Gu Jingfeng's two kids suddenly burst into loud wails. One screamed, "I want to go home," and the other cried, "I want my mommy." Lu Feng scrambled to calm them down, but ended up crying herself. Gu Mingzhu crouched in a corner, pulling out her phone to post on social media, but the signal was blocked. Nothing would send. She threw her phone on the floor and buried her head in her hands, sobbing. Old driver Lu and Nanny Zhang huddled in the farthest corner of the room, exchanging helpless glances. "Old Lu," Zhang whispered, "are we going to jail?" "I don't know." Lu's voice was trembling. I just drove the boss around. I don't know anything." "Me too. I just cooked and cleaned. I had no clue about any of that money stuff." "Then why are they holding us?" "I don't know." The two of them shivered in the corner like a pair of frightened rabbits. Wang Milan sat alone against the wall, the arrogance drained from her face, replaced by nothing but deep exhaustion. She thought back to 20 years ago, when Gu Yuanshan was still alive. How glorious the Gu family had been back then, whatever she said, went. All the socialites and wealthy wives in the city fawned over her. She bought whatever she wanted, went wherever she pleased, no one dared to say a single no, and now, she was locked in a shabby detention room, surrounded by a pack of family members tearing each other apart, while countless people outside waited to laugh at her downfall. Suddenly, she thought of Yi Xinglan. She remembered 3 years ago, when Yi Xinglan had just married into the Gu family. The first thing Wang Milan had said to her was, "Marrying into our family is your blessing, you'd better cherish it and not be ungrateful." Yi Xinglan had just smiled and said nothing. Now, looking back, maybe there was something in that smile she hadn't understood. The sound of a key turning in the lock came from the door. Everyone stopped arguing and turned to stare at the door. It opened. A uniformed police officer stepped in. "Gu Jinghen, Wang Milan, Gu Jingfeng, Lu Mingyao, the four of you, come with me." "Where to?" Gu Jinghen asked. "The procuratorate has formally approved your arrest," the officer said, expressionless. "As of now, the four of you are under formal arrest." Gu Mingzhu shrieked. "What about me? What about me? You're still under investigation." The officer glanced at her. "For now, no arrest warrant has been issued, but you're restricted from leaving the country. You can go home." "Home?" Gu Mingzhu froze. "My home? Do I still have a home?" No one answered that question, because everyone knew, the Gu family's house had already been seized. Gu Mingzhu wasn't returning to a home, just a place to stay, and that home, starting today, was gone forever. Chapter 8. full asset seizure. 2 seals were plastered on the front door of the Gu family villa, white paper, red stamps, bearing the bold words, sealed by the Economic Crime Investigation Unit of the Shanghai Public Security Bureau. Gu Mingzhu stood at the doorstep, clutching the villa's keys in her hand, unsure if she should open the door. Just open it, Wang Meifang urged from beside her. Grab a few clothes and we'll leave. Trembling, Gu Mingzhu slid the key into the lock, twisted it twice, and the door swung open. The living room looked exactly as it had when she left 3 days ago. The sofa, the coffee table, the crystal chandelier, the oil painting on the wall that cost 3 million, everything was still in its place. But Gu Mingzhu felt like it had all changed overnight. It was no longer part of her home, just a pile of case-related assets tagged with labels. Hurry up and pack your things upstairs. Wang Meifang gave her a shove. The cops said we only have an hour. Gu Mingzhu dashed up to the 2nd floor and pushed open the door to her own bedroom. The room was huge, over 60 square meters. The walk-in closet was packed with hundreds of designer clothes, the shoe rack lined with over 50 pairs of high heels, and the vanity table cluttered with luxury makeup and perfumes. She stood in front of the closet, staring at the overflowing racks, and suddenly had no idea what to take, which piece, how many, and where would she put them after. She had no home anymore, no walk-in closet, no vanity table, not even a decent wardrobe. The most she could take was 2 suitcases worth of stuff. Everything else would be seized, auctioned off, and become someone else's. Gu Mingzhu grabbed a Chanel jacket, hugged it to her chest, and burst into loud, wailing sobs. Mom, what am I gonna do? I don't have a home anymore, Mom. Downstairs, Wang Meifang was also packing. She slipped into Wang Meilan's bedroom, yanked open the wardrobe, and started stuffing jewelry, designer bags, and couture dresses into a suitcase without a second thought. Auntie, what are you doing? Gu Mingzhu came down the stairs, saw her mom's bedroom door open, and walked in to find Wang Meifang ransacking everything, grabbing stuff. Wang Meifang didn't even look up. If we don't take it, the cops will confiscate it all. Who's it gonna benefit? That bitch Yi Xinglan. But that's my mom's stuff. Your mom's in detention right now. She can't get to it. I'm just keeping it safe for her until she gets out. Gu Mingzhu opened her mouth to say something, but seeing Wang Meifang's expression, she swallowed her words. Then a thought hit her. Oh right, what about my brother's safe? The one in the study. There's supposed to be something important in it. Which safe? Wang Meifang asked. The small one in the study, built into the wall. The two of them rushed into the study, and Wang Meifang spotted the safe immediately. Where's the key? No idea. My brother never told me. What about the code? No idea either. Wang Meifang gritted her teeth. Smash it. They searched everywhere but couldn't find a hammer. Wang Meifang just grabbed a chair and slammed it against the safe's lock. After 4 or 5 hits, the lock didn't budge, but the chair fell apart. Forget it. We can't take it. Wang Meifang tossed the chair aside, panting. Can't carry it anyway. Let the cops have it. Can't be anything good inside. Gu Mingzhu stood in the middle of the study, looking around. This was the room where Gu Jingheng spent the most time. She never came here before, because he didn't like anyone entering his study. Now she got it. It wasn't that he didn't like people coming in, he was afraid they'd see something they shouldn't. Her phone suddenly rang. Gu Mingzhu picked it up. It was her agent. Mingzhu, you're trending. What? Just check for yourself. Gu Mingzhu opened Weibo. The top trending topic, hashtag Gu Mingzhu flexing backfires hashtag. She clicked on it. All screenshots from videos she'd posted before, her sitting in a sports car, her strolling through a mall with designer bags, her live streaming from a hotel suite. Every video had tens of thousands of comments. So this is the rich heiress. Well, now the mansion's become a prison. LMAO. The harder she flexed before, the harder she's crying now. Heard her brother got arrested, the whole family got busted, and she's the only one who ran. Running won't help. All her assets are frozen. She doesn't even have a place to stay now. Serves her right. Flexers are all trash. Gu Mingzhu threw her phone onto the ground, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. At the same time, chaos reigned in the headquarters of the Gu Group. A crowd of reporters surrounded the company entrance, their cameras aimed at the doors, waiting to capture the first headline. Inside the building, employees gathered in small groups, whispering among themselves. Did you hear? The CEO got arrested. Yeah, heard it's for money laundering, hundreds of millions. Oh God, are we even getting paid this month? No idea. The company accounts are frozen. Probably not. What do we do then? I've got a mortgage payment next month. Let's wait and see. If it gets worse, start looking for a new job. in the finance department, the director was on the phone, sweating bullets. Mr. Zhang, it's not that I won't pay you, the accounts are frozen, I can't get the money out, Mr. Wang, just give us a few more days. Once this is sorted, we'll wire you the payment immediately. Mr. Li, don't be mad, we're victims here too. After hanging up, the finance director collapsed into his chair, beads of sweat dripping down his forehead. There was over 200 million in liquid assets in the company accounts, all frozen, supplier debts, employee salaries, bank loans. Everything was waiting for cash. Now, not a single cent could be withdrawn, and the company was on the verge of bankruptcy. He picked up his phone and sent a message to Gu Jingheng, CEO Gu. The company can't hold on much longer. Please figure something out. The message vanished into silence. He didn't know that Gu Jingheng's phone had long been confiscated. At 3 p.m., the court's enforcement officers arrived. They carried a seizure list, checking, registering, and sealing every asset in the Gu Group headquarters, from the first-floor lobby to the top-floor CEO office, from the servers to the office desks and chairs. Everything was plastered with seals. These computers are off limits. Yes, then how are we supposed to work? You're not working anymore. The company is suspended for rectification. All employees are on leave. Your wages will be paid after asset liquidation. The employees exchanged stunned looks. Then one by one, they packed up and left. Some were crying, some cursing, some on the phone job hunting, others saying goodbye to colleagues. Lao Wang, can you ask your company if they're hiring? Sure, I'll check for you. Man, what a rotten stroke of luck, getting caught up in this. Tell me about it. The elevator doors opened and closed. The building grew emptier and emptier. By 5 p.m., the entire building was deserted. Only the old security guard remained in the first-floor booth, sitting in his chair, staring blankly at the seals covering the building. He had worked here for 15 years, from Gu Yuanshan's era through Gu Jingheng's. Now, the Gu family's era was over. At 7 p.m., Yi Xinglan was in her Paris hotel room when she received a video call from Chen Mingyuan, Ms. Yi. The asset liquidation of the Gu Group has begun. The court's preliminary assessment puts Gu Jingheng's personal assets plus the company's assets at around 800 million total, after deducting debts and fines. The marital property available for division is roughly 300 to 400 million. What about Wang Mailan's assets have also been seized, including that heirloom jade bracelet. After appraisal, the bracelet is worth about 12 million. It's considered her personal property and won't be divided, but since she's suspected of forging the will, it may be used to compensate Gu Jingchen's losses, and Gu Jingchen has submitted the original will and related notarized documents to the court. The court has preliminarily ruled that Wang Mailan's forgery charge stands, and Gu Jingchen is entitled to inherit 20% of Gu Yuanshan's shares, based on current market value. Those shares are worth about 160 million. Yi Xinglan nodded. Good, he helped me, and I didn't help him for nothing. There's one more thing, Chen Mingyuan said. Lu Mingyao's agency has officially terminated her contract and is demanding an 8 million penalty. Lu Mingyao can't pay. Her mother's house in Hainan has also been seized. She's practically penniless now, can't even afford a lawyer, and Gu Mingzhu. All of Gu Mingzhu's social media accounts have been banned. The brands she endorsed have all demanded contract cancellations, and some are even suing for damages. She's currently staying in a cheap motel, sharing a bed with Wang Meifang. Yi Xinglan leaned back on the hotel sofa, gazing at the Paris nightscape outside the window. The Eiffel Tower glimmered in the distance, and the Seine was lit up with lights. This city was beautiful, but it couldn't compare to how she felt right now. Attorney Chen, she said, help me draft a divorce agreement. The terms are simple. I waive all claims to Gu Jingheng's assets under his name, but he must agree to the divorce and not harass me in any form. Also, I want him to provide a written admission of serious fault during the marriage, including but not limited to infidelity, asset transfer, and forgery of signatures. Will he sign it? He's sitting in the detention center now, waiting for the court's verdict. If he signs this agreement, his sentence could be reduced by at least a year or two. What do you think? Will he sign? Chen Mingyuan smiled. I'll send the agreement over tomorrow. Good. Also, book me a flight for the day after tomorrow. I want to go to Italy. Of course, Ms. Yi. Have a pleasant trip. After hanging up, Yi Xinglan walked into the bathroom and soaked in a hot bath. She closed her eyes, and Gu Jingheng's face surfaced in her mind. That face had once made her heart race, made her believe she had married for love. Now, thinking back, it only felt ridiculous. She opened her eyes. stared at the ceiling, and murmured to herself, Gu Jinghen, what you owed me is already paid off, the rest is what you owe the law, take your time repaying it. Chapter 9, Court Sentenced to Prison. 3 months later, Shanghai No. 1 Intermediate People's Court, Criminal Trial Courtroom. The courtroom was packed, journalists, lawyers, relatives and friends of the Gu family, and curious onlookers who had come just for the drama. Gu Jingheng, Wang Meilin, Gu Jingfeng, and Lu Mengyao stood in the dock, all in matching prison uniforms, their handcuffs glinting coldly under the lights. Gu Jingheng had lost a lot of weight. His once well-maintained face was sallow, with dark circles under his eyes so heavy they looked like he'd been punched twice. His hair had grown long, messy strands falling over his forehead, a far cry from the impeccably dressed CEO of the Gu Group he had been 3 months ago. Wang Meilin stood beside him, looking at least 10 years older. Half her hair had turned white, and the wrinkles on her face were as deep as knife cuts. She seemed small and pitiful, shrunk into her prison uniform. Gu Jingfeng stood in the second row, head down, lips pressed tightly together. Lu Mengyao was at the back, her hair cut short, her face bare of makeup. Without it, she looked nothing like the glamorous little star she had once been. She had been crying since the moment she walked into the courtroom, and she didn't stop even when the judge banged the gavel. Order, the judge said. Striking the gavel, the court is now in session. Defendant Gu Jingheng, the indictment charges you with money laundering, embezzlement, and fraud. Do you plead guilty? Gu Jingheng lifted his head and glanced at the public gallery. In the back row, Yi Xinglan sat in a black dress, her hair pinned up, her expression as calm as a still lake. Gu Jingheng looked at her, his lips moving as if to say something, but nothing came out. He turned back to the judge. I plead guilty, murmurs rippled through the gallery. Defendant Wang Meilin, the indictment charges you with forging a will and embezzling others' property. Do you plead guilty? Wang Meilin's lips trembled, her voice barely a whisper. I plead guilty. Defendant Gu Jingfeng, the indictment charges you with embezzlement and aiding money laundering. Do you plead guilty? Gu Jingfeng took a deep breath. I plead guilty. Defendant Lu Mengyao, the indictment charges you with transferring marital property. Do you plead guilty? Lu Mengyao sobbed uncontrollably. I plead guilty, Your Honor. Can I get a lighter sentence? I was really tricked into this. The court will take the defendant's guilty pleas into consideration, the judge said, expressionless. Now, the prosecutor will read the indictment. The prosecutor stood up, opened a folder, and began to read. Defendant Gu Jingheng, between 2021 and 2024, using his position as CEO of the Gu Group, illegally transferred company assets and marital property through setting up offshore companies, forging bank authorizations, and fabricating transactions, totaling 473 million yuan. Defendant Wang Meilin, in 2004, after Gu Yuanshan's death, conspired with others to forge Gu Yuanshan's will, altering the 20% company shares that should have gone to Gu Jingchen to Gu Jingheng, valued at approximately 160 million yuan. Defendant Gu Jingfeng, between 2022 and 2024, assisted Gu Jingheng in handling illegal funds, with a total amount of 210 million yuan, and obtained 3 million yuan in illegal gains. Defendant Lu Mengyao, between 2023 and 2024, maintained an improper relationship with Gu Jingheng. Knowing full well that Gu Jingheng was married, she still accepted marital property transferred by him, accumulating consumption and receipt of assets totaling 43 million yuan. With each charge read out, the noise from the audience grew louder. Some shook their heads, some sighed, some took photos, some scribbled notes after reading the charges. The judge looked toward the defense table. Does the defense have anything to say? Gu Jingheng's lawyer stood up. Your Honor, my client has a good attitude toward admitting guilt, actively cooperated with the investigation, and has returned part of the illicit funds. We request a lenient sentence from the court. Wang Meilin's lawyer also stood up. Your Honor, my client is advanced in age and suffers from multiple illnesses. We request the court to consider this during sentencing. Gu Jingfeng's lawyer and Lu Mengyao's lawyer also spoke in turn, all saying similar things. Good attitude toward admitting guilt, voluntary return of illicit gains, first-time offense, signs of remorse, requesting leniency. After hearing them out, the judge closed the folder. This court, after trial, finds that the charges brought by the public prosecutor are established, with evidence being solid and sufficient. The criminal facts of defendants Gu Jingheng, Wang Meilin, Gu Jingfeng, and Lu Mengyao are clear, and the evidence is conclusive. They shall be held criminally liable according to law. He paused. glancing at the four defendants. Now, the court pronounces its verdict. Everyone held their breath. Defendant Gu Jinghen, convicted of money laundering, sentenced to 6 years in prison. Convicted of embezzlement, sentenced to 4 years in prison. Convicted of fraud, sentenced to 3 years in prison. Combined punishment, decided to execute 10 years in prison, with a fine of 50 million yuan. Gu Jinghen's face turned pale instantly. 10 years, he would serve 10 years in prison. Defendant Wang Milan, convicted of forging a will, sentenced to 5 years in prison. Convicted of embezzling others' property, sentenced to 3 years in prison. Combined punishment, decided to execute 7 years in prison, with a fine of 10 million yuan. Wang Milan's legs gave way, and she nearly collapsed, steadied by the bailiff beside her. Defendant Gu Jingfeng, convicted of embezzlement, sentenced to 4 years in prison. Convicted of aiding money laundering, sentenced to 2 years in prison. Combined punishment, decided to execute 5 years in prison, with a fine of 5 million yuan. Gu Jingfeng closed his eyes, letting out a deep breath. Defendant Lu Mingyao, convicted of transferring marital property, sentenced to 2 years in prison, with a fine of 2 million yuan. The illegal gains of 43 million yuan shall be recovered. When Lu Mingyao heard the words 2 years, she collapsed to the ground. 2 years, not long, not short, but enough to ruin her life. The bailiff walked over, recuffed all four, and prepared to take them away. Wait, Gu Jinghen suddenly spoke, his voice hoarse. Your Honor, can I say something to my ex-wife? The judge glanced at Yi Xinglan in the audience. Yi Xinglan nodded. The bailiff led Gu Jinghen to stand before Yi Xinglan. They faced each other, a meter apart. Gu Jinghen looked at her, his eyes reddening. Xinglan, I'm sorry. Yi Xinglan looked at him, her expression unchanged. Are you done? I know I did a lot of wrong things. I'm not asking for your forgiveness. I just want to say, you're a good woman. I wasn't worthy of you. Does saying this now mean anything? Yi Xinglan's voice was calm. Gu Jinghen, if you really think you're wrong, then reform yourself in there. 10 years, not long, not short. When you get out, you'll only be in your 40s. You can still start over. Gu Jinghen's tears fell. Will you come see me? Yi Xinglan gave a faint smile. No. She turned and walked away. Gu Jinghen stood there, watching her figure disappear through the courtroom door. He suddenly remembered 3 years ago, on their wedding day, Yi Xinglan, in a white wedding dress, stood under the flower arch waiting for him. He walked over, took her hand, and she said one thing. She said, Gu Jinghen, from today on, we're a family. You have to treat me well forever. He smiled and said back then, I will. He lied, and for that lie, he paid with 10 years of his life. As Wang Milan was being escorted out by the bailiff, she passed the audience and saw someone. Gu Jingchen. He sat in the front row of the audience, wearing a dark gray suit, staring at her with no expression. Wang Milan stopped, her lips trembling for a long time. Jingchen, don't say my name. Gu Jingchen's voice was ice cold. You don't deserve it. I know. I've wronged you, your father's shares. It doesn't matter anymore. Gu Jingchen stood up. The court has already ruled. Everything owed to me will be paid back, not a cent less. As for the 20 years you owe me, take your time repaying. He turned and walked away, his leather shoes clicking sharply against the marble floor. Wang Milan watched his retreating figure, tears streaming down her face. She remembered 20 years ago, when Gu Jingchen was just a teenager, kicked out of the Gu family mansion by her. He had turned and walked away like that too. Back then, she thought she had won. Now she realized she had lost completely. When Lu Mingyao was escorted out, the media swarmed in, cameras and microphones aimed at her face. Lu Mingyao, do you regret it now? Lu Mingyao, do you think you got what you deserved? Lu Mingyao, is there anything you want to say to Yi Xinglan? Lu Mingyao kept her head down, not saying a word. She didn't know what to say. Regret? Would that even help? Apologize? Would Yi Xinglan listen? Claim she was a victim too? Who would believe her? She was shoved into the police car. The door slammed shut, cutting off the chaos outside. The car started, slowly pulling out of the courthouse gate. Through the window, she saw hundreds of people gathered at the entrance, some taking photos, some live streaming, some shouting, you deserve it. She closed her eyes, tears sliding down her cheeks. This was the longest day of her 24-year-old life, and the darkest. Inside the courthouse, the judge packed up his files, ready to leave. An assistant walked over. Your Honor, about Gu Jinghen's case, anything else to handle? The judge thought for a moment. No, solid evidence, decent confession attitude, sentencing is straightforward. What about Yi Xinglan? Her, the judge chuckled. She's something else. Single-handedly gathered all the evidence and tore the Gu family apart root and branch. In my 20 years as a judge, I've never seen a plaintiff so calm. I heard she took the settlement and went traveling around the world. Seems like it. Her. Social media is full of photos, Italy, France, Switzerland. She's living better than she ever did in the Gu family. If Gu Jingheng finds out, he'll probably be furious. The judge placed the gavel in the drawer and closed it. Furious, he deserves it. Chapter 10, A New Beginning. Venice, Italy. Yi Xinglan sat in a gondola, the boatman singing an Italian folk song behind her as the small boat drifted slowly through the narrow canals. Sunlight spilled onto the water, shimmering and sparkling. The old buildings on either side looked like they had grown straight out of a painting. She pulled out her phone, opened the camera, and snapped a photo of the canal. In the picture, the sky was a deep blue, the water a vivid green, and in the distance, someone was taking photos on an arched bridge. She thought for a moment, then raised her phone again to take a selfie. She wore a long red dress, her hair slightly messy from the wind, but the smile on her face was as radiant as the midday sun over Venice. She stitched the two photos together, opened her social media, and captioned it, Venice, perfect sunshine. Within a minute, likes and comments flooded in. Yi, you're living the dream, so jealous, I wanna go too. You hiring a sidekick, one who can eat. This is what a true winner looks like. If Gu Jingheng sees this, he'll probably faint from rage in prison. Seeing the last comment, Yi Xinglan smiled, faint from rage. She'd love to see Gu Jingheng's face if he saw her posts. Too bad there were no phones in prison. He couldn't see them, but that was fine. She'd show him. She opened her phone's notes app and scrolled to a page titled, Everything to Tell Gu Jingheng When He Gets Out. It read, Day 1, I went to Paris and had coffee under the Eiffel Tower. Day 2, I went to Switzerland and built a snowman on Jungfrau. Day 3, I went to Rome and threw a coin into the Trevi fountain. Day 4, I went to Florence and ate authentic Italian steak. Day 5, I went to Venice and rode a gondola. She updated this note every day, meticulously recording where she went, what she ate, and what she saw. When Gu Jingheng got out of prison 10 years later, she'd send him this note, let him see how brilliantly she had lived through the decade he lost. Miss, we've arrived. The boatman docked the gondola at a small pier. Yi Xinglan stepped off, paid, and walked along the cobblestone path. The alleys of Venice twisted and turned, like a labyrinth. She wasn't in a hurry, strolling slowly, popping into any shop that caught her eye and grabbing a bite of anything that looked good. She stopped in front of a mask shop, drawn to a golden mask in the window. The mask was exquisite, painted with a peacock feather pattern, a ring of tiny rhinestones around the eye sockets. Beautiful, right? The shopkeeper stepped out, asking in broken English. It is, Yi Xinglan said. How much? 80 euros. I'll take it. She paid, put the mask on, and checked her reflection in the shop window. The golden mask covered half her face, leaving only her eyes and mouth visible. Her eyes were bright, the corners of her lips slightly lifted. She looked like a proud peacock, no, like a phoenix reborn from the ashes. Her phone rang. It was Chen Mingyuan. Ms. Yi, sorry to bother you. I have something to report. Go ahead. The liquidation of the Gu Group's assets is complete. After deducting all debts and fines, your personal share of the marital property totals 320 million yuan. That money has been transferred to the private account you designated. What about Gu Jingchen? Gu Jingchen got the 20% of shares from his father's will. He sold them to another company, cashing out 140 million. He said he's going to use that money to start his own company. Good for him, he has the ability. There's one more thing. Chen Mingyuan paused. Gu Mingzhu recently started live streaming sales online, selling her old second-hand designer clothes and bags, but she got roasted by netizens. Called a fence seller, her stream got banned 3 times, and Wang Meifang's agency completely collapsed. Her daughter cut ties with her, saying she was a burden. Wang Meifang is now living alone in a rented room, surviving on welfare. What about Lu Fang and the 2 kids? Lu Fang divorced Gu Jingfeng. She said she doesn't want her kids to have a dad in prison, and she wants to cut all ties with the Gu family. When Gu Jingfeng got the divorce papers in prison, he cried all day. Yi Xinglan listened, silent for a few seconds. Ms. Yi, Chen Mingyuan probed. Are you feeling a little sorry for them? Sorry, Yi Xinglan laughed. Lawyer Chen, do you think I'd feel sorry for a man who schemed against me for 3 years, lied to me for 3 years, used me for 3 years, then just now, I was just thinking, Yi Xinglan said, fate is really fair, you reap what you sow. Gu Jingheng sowed for 10 years, and now he's reaping 10 years of consequences. His whole family sowed for 20 years, and now they're reaping 20, 30 years of consequences. Nothing to feel sorry about. They all made their own choices. Chen Mingyuan was silent for a moment. You're right, all right, Lawyer Chen. Don't contact me unless it's something major. I want to live my life in peace, okay? Ms. Yi, have a pleasant trip. She hung up, took off the mask, and put it in her bag. She walked out of the alley and into street, Mark Square. The square was full of pigeons and vendors selling corn kernels. She bought a bag, scattered it on the ground, and the pigeons swooped down in a flurry, crowding around her feet to fight for the food. She crouched down, watching the pigeons, and felt a sudden calm. 3 years ago, when she first married into the Gu family, she thought she'd finally found a home. Back then, she woke up early every day to make Gu Jingheng breakfast, waited for him to come home for dinner, went shopping with Wang Milan on weekends, and bought gifts for Gu Mingzhu on holidays. She thought she was doing enough, but later, she realized that in their eyes, she was never family. She was just a tool to bear a son, to serve them, to be used by them. When the tool stopped satisfying them, they'd replace it without a second thought. Luckily, she fought back without a second thought either, and she fought back thoroughly. Her phone rang again. This time, it was a text from an unknown number. Yi Xinglan, it's Lu Mingyao. I know you don't want to talk to me, but I still want to say I'm sorry. I did a lot of wrong things. Hurt you, and I really regret it. Now that I'm inside, I think every day, if I could turn back time, I would never have taken this path. I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. Yi Xinglan read the message and thought for a long time. She typed 5 words and sent them back. Focus on your reform. After sending it, she blocked that number. It wasn't about not forgiving, it was about not wasting her emotions. Shanghai, a women's prison. Lu Mingyao sat on the bed in her cell, staring at the 5 words on her phone screen, tears falling again. Reform well. Just those 5 words. No, I forgive you. No, I understand you. No, you've been through a lot too. Only reform well. Like one stranger speaking to another, she suddenly understood one thing. In Yi Xinglan's world, she had completely become someone irrelevant, not even worth hating. That was the scariest part. The same day, in another prison, Gu Jingheng ran into someone during yard time. Gu Jingfeng, his uncle. 2 men in prison uniforms stood in a corner of the exercise yard, silent. Your wife, Lu Fong, she divorced you. Gu Jingheng spoke first. Yeah. Gu Jingfeng kept his head down. Divorced, and the kid, with her. Gu Jingheng was quiet for a moment. My wife divorced me too. No, not my wife anymore. She took all the money and went to travel the world. Serves us right. Gu Jingfeng suddenly looked up, eyes red. We both deserve this. Gu Jingheng didn't argue. Because it was the truth. They deserved it. They were the ones who pushed Yi Xinglan away, the ones who destroyed their own home, the ones who sent themselves to prison. No one else to blame. Across the yard, other inmates were playing ball, chatting, soaking up the sun. The sun was nice, but Gu Jingheng felt cold from the bone. A month later, Yi Xinglan posted a Moments update, a 9-grid photo set. First photo, her drinking coffee under the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Second, building a snowman on Jungfrau in Switzerland. Third, tossing a coin into the Trevi fountain in Rome. Fourth, eating steak in Florence. Fifth, riding a gondola in Venice. Sixth, a selfie in front of Milan Cathedral. Seventh, watching the sunset in Santorini, Greece. Eighth, riding a hot air balloon in Turkey. Ninth, a white background text image. The text read, a year ago, I thought my life was over. My husband cheated, my whole family betrayed me, and everyone waited to see me fall. A year later, I'm smiling in every corner of the world, while they're crying in prison. That's life. The dead end you think you've hit is actually the start of another road. Thank you to the me who never gave up. Yi Xinglan, you deserve the best. The caption was just one sentence. The world is big, and I'm going to see it slowly. After this post, likes hit over 500, comments over 200. Sister Yi, you're my idol. So inspiring. I'm writing your story down. This is the classic back then you ignored me. Now I'm out of your league. No, it should be back then your whole family scammed me. Now I've put them all in jail. Ha ha ha. Sister Yi, write a book. I'll be the first to buy it. Yi Xinglan read the comments and smiled. She turned off her phone, walked out of the hotel, and came to the cliffside of Santorini. The sunset was sinking into the Aegean Sea. The clouds on the horizon dyed golden red. the water shimmering like scattered gold under the sun's glow. The wind was strong, whipping her hair around. She took a deep breath, spread her arms, and closed her eyes. All she could hear was the wind and the waves, no arguments, no betrayal, no scheming, only freedom. She opened her eyes and looked at the endless ocean, a slow smile spreading across her lips. Gu Jinghan, she whispered, thank you for letting me go, and thank you for making me a better version of myself. In the distance, the sun set, but tomorrow's sun will rise again, and Yi Xinglan's life was just beginning. The end.